Hello everyone and welcome to a new Infinity Kingdom video. This is KinCaid from 49, and in this video guys I wanted to talk about Lightning Immortals and Lightning Marsh. What is the best Marsh to use and what are the best Immortals to use for the early game, mid game and late game. I made a video a few days ago about Lightning Dragon Talent, and I think someone wrote down in the comments that they need to know what skills that they should be using for the Lightning Immortals. This is why I'm doing this video basically. So first I want to talk about the early game, which Immortals that you can use for the early game. So for the early game for Lightning Marsh, I think it's pretty easy to obtain Charles in early game, either through Mysterium or you can summon it. It has a pretty high chance to get it from stones. You can get it from Mysterium, and there's an event, I think, in daily sign-in. So this is for Richard. Richard is one of the most important Immortals for the Lightning Marsh for the early game. This is why I recommend to use it, and along with some defensive skills. As you can see, I'm using Life Link on him at the moment. For the second front line, I believe that the best that you can use is where did he go? This guy here, William Wallace. William Wallace have a very high damage since he leads Spearman. This will also allow you to keep developing the Spearman technology tree, since you're gonna use Peter the Great later on, so it does not affect your progress when it comes to tech, since you will be using the same kind of troops. William Wallace is very strong in early game. He deals lots of damage, and also he applies silence in front row, and it has a 40% chance, which is higher than Attila at the moment. Attila used to be 50%, but now he got only 35% chance. The only difference that William Wallace apply his silence to 2 Immortals only, while Attila have a chance to apply to 3 Immortals. For the second row, I think Yusungai is a very decent Immortal, and you can obtain him on early game. And if you're going to be a spender, you can get Genghis Khan. And I think that Genghis Khan is I think he is the most important Immortal for the Lightning Marsh. I don't have him in this account, but I don't mind since it's not my main account. But I don't think you can play Lightning in late game without Genghis Khan. He's the most important one, and he syncs very well with the mage that has been released recently, Hammurabi, I think. So you need to get this fat guy if you're willing to play a Lightning Marsh, and you're planning to play it until the late game. But if you cannot afford Genghis Khan in early game, you can always go for Medib. It's a very strong mage, and you can also get, where's Constance? Constance is a very good support. Here it is. She dispels all debuffs inflicted on your unit and increases the crit rate by 25%. Well, I know the Lightning Immortals doesn't really count on crit, but this could be a good buff in early game as well. Early game usually is complicated. To be honest, I don't recommend Lightning Marshes in the very early game. However, this is the setup that you need to go if you really love Lightning Marsh and you really want to play it in the early game. For the mid game, I believe you could have unlocked Peter, Richard, Yusungai, and you can get Gilgamesh. Also easy to obtain. You can get his shards. All these 4 Immortals, you can get their shards from the market, by the way, for Crystal Souls, which is not gonna cost you any gems. And your build for the mid game should be something like this. You need to protect Gilgamesh since he will be your main damage. You need a Rage Bliss. Make sure that Charles execute his skill before Dragon skill to get the double damage bonus from the Dragon skill. And if none of you guys know, the Lightning Strike, which is deals true damage to all enemy units. If the target was stunned, the damage will be doubled. So if the target was stunned, the amount of damage will be dealt will be around 2 million damage per immortal if that immortal was stunned. So I make sure that my Richard applies his skill before Dragon casts this skill, so I could make use of the double damage bonus. I also use Beater. Beater is a very good immortal when it comes to dealing damage. He used to be good before introducing the new artifacts, because he used to counter Alexander without his artifact, so I think this should be the case for the mid game. However, for the late game, I doubt Beater could be any good. I think they released the new immortal recently, which is he looks a bit like Peter. Where is the special bundles? There he is. Louise the 5th, I think. Yeah, this should be 5th, right? Or 6th or 4th. I think this is Louise 4th. Whatever, I think this immortal will be a good add to the late game. However, for the mid game, this should be the build that you're using. This should be the immortals that you're using. For the late game, I recommend to remove Richard, and you need to get Genghis Khan. If you don't have Genghis Khan, guys, I don't recommend to continue playing Lightning anymore, because it will be pointless. As you can see, I'm using this account as a farm as of now. I don't do any kind of BVB with this account right now. For Richard, you can get Ilsed. I know some people think Ilsed is a useless immortal. However, Ilsed is very strong ever since they removed introduced the new artifacts, because he counter any kind of immortal that uses or counts normal attacks. If we read his skill right now, it reduces the physical damage inflicted on your front row troop by 30% at max level, and when they are targeted by normal attacks, there is a 65% chance inflicting physical damage to the attacker for 12 seconds. So as long as they are receiving normal attacks, there is a 65% chance that they are gonna reflect 100% damage, and this damage counts by the immortal that is being protected. So if it's Peter that is being protected by Elsad's skill and he was receiving normal attacks, he will reflect 100% damage that is being applied by his own physical attack, not Elsad. This is why you will need to place Peter in front of an immortal like Alexander to be able to reflect as much damage as possible, because if Alexander was dealing damage or in front of Elsad, the amount of damage that Elsad will be reflecting will be very low, because as you know guys, defense immortals have a very low physical attack. And for the late game, as I mentioned, you need Elsad in replacement of Richard. You need Genghis Khan to replace Attila, and you need of course Hammurabi, the new mage immortal. I think you can I have Hammurabi in this account, right? Yeah, here he is. He's speaking Arabic as well. Well, you need Hammurabi for the late game. As for his skill, you need some basic mage skills. You need concentration, annihilation, and one of the novas. If you don't have if you have one of the new mage skills, such as Spell Disintegrator or Storm, If we're gonna counter root, this could work as well. For Genghis Khan, I usually recommend to use same skills I'm using here, which is anger. You could remove Death Breath and replace it with the immune skill, Fighting Master. Just make sure that Genghis Khan doesn't get any kind of crowd control, and he makes sure to keep applying the wounded. As for the auras for the Lightning Marsh, I kept this for the last because it's a separate matter. As you know, guys, the Lightning Marsh doesn't have any form of sustain or heal. This is why I'm using filter here. You could also use Berserk for more sustain. If it's your main marsh, of course you will need to use Malais. And you will need to use Caution if you're up against someone who's using Misleading. So this is pretty much situational aura, I would say. And same goes for Shelter and Berserk. Berserk is very important for the mid game though, because all your immortals are physical damage dealers. So this is why Berserk could help you to be able to do more normal attacks. And as you know, front row immortals get more energy the more normal attacks they do. So this is pretty much everything that I want to talk about. Let's do a quick recap for early game Lightning Immortals. I don't actually recommend it, but if you're going for Lightning, you will need Richard, Yusungai if you can get him. You can use Medib. He's a strong mage, to be honest. I'm using it in my main account. You could also, if you'd like to go for a healer, there's Moctezuma. And if you would like to go for the support, there's Constance. For mid-game, this should be the marsh that you are using. You could also replace Gilgamesh or Genghis Khan if you're able to get him. For late game, you could use El Cid, Beater, or the new guy. You can use Hammurabi and Genghis Khan. I believe this is the best Lightning Marsh that you're using. There is a friend of mine in the server who are using a very strong Lightning Marsh. I believe he beats all the Earth March user, even though he doesn't have Hammurabi, but he's using Hannibal Parka in his marsh. Even though his artifact is not that good and it's not developed, it is still dealing lots of damage and able to beat the people who are using Earth marshes. As you can see, he's using Elcid with their artifact, and I almost forgot, guys. Elcid's artifact helps you to increase the reflect rate of your skill up to 100%. So it's not a chance anymore. As long as you have the artifact, it becomes 100% inflicting physical damage. This is why El Cid shines more with his artifact. So you need El Cid's artifact to be able to make use of him. He's a very strong immortal, to be honest. I don't know why people are calling him useless. This is all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and soon I'll be making more videos, maybe about fire and earth marshes. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.